What's going on, everybody? I'm here to do a review for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. We are officially out of Phase 4. We ended off with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and we are kicking off Phase 5 of the MCU with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. So, basically, this movie was about Ant-Man, Wasp, Scott Lang. They're together now. They're basically talking about their life post-blip, how everything has been going well for him and everything's going well for her. Everything's just looking on the up and up. He's basically like a celebrity. Everywhere he walks around town, he gets all this acknowledgement, people paying for his meals, paying for his drinks. Like, he's literally being treated like the celebrity that he should be. And I actually like that they did that, because I feel like Ant-Man is one of those characters that's heavily underrated and doesn't get enough credit for what he can contribute to the MCU, especially because he was a huge intricate part in taking down Thanos and in Endgame. So I think that's pretty dope that he's getting the recognition he deserves. Wasp, or Hope, she's now working at this big, this company. She's like this big tech giant, working with PIM particles and all this other great things. Everything is just going great for them, but there's one little snag that's going on with Scott, and that's more so with his daughter Cassie. Now, we've seen her throughout the different Ant-Man films, and I swear she has to be one of the most recasted characters throughout the entire MCU. I mean, every time we see an iteration of her character in a movie, it's a different actress playing her, mainly because as the years go on, they have to age her and grow her up. And clearly the little girl who played his daughter in the first maybe 2 Ant-Man movies, because of time going forward, is no way they're going to age her quickly in real life. Only in a movie can that actually occur. But in this movie, she gets more screen time. She gets more stuff to do. And when we first meet her, she is, locked. She's in jail. It's almost like she's following in her dad's footsteps, because Scott Lang, he constantly was always getting in trouble and always getting locked up. Now he's just turned his life around. He's a celebrity of sorts. He has his own book. He's reading his book to different people. Like, people are really feeling Ant-Man now, and now he has to realize that he's still a dad, and his daughter is still going through some things, more so in her personal life, tech side, and all types of stuff like that. And really, one of the biggest themes when it comes to this movie is basically keeping secrets, because it's a lot of people, well, 2 people mainly, who kept secrets in this movie that were a huge part going forward with the narrative of the story. And especially the Janet character, who is Hope's mother, the original Wasp, because she was down in the quantum realm for 30 years. So she was down there being able to navigate it around. So she was a huge part, an intricate part of the story in helping them to navigate throughout the quantum realm. I really did like that they were able to go into the quantum realm and spend a little bit more time down there, because that's something that's been talked about and hinted at throughout the Ant-Man movies, but they never stayed down there very long. They went there, or they mentioned it, and they were gone, and they came back out of it. Ant-Man, he stayed down in the quantum realm when he got snatched down there at the end of his Ant-Man and the Wasp movie. And he stayed there, and how he came out of it with Endgame, and that's how he was able to come up with that plan with the time travel situation in order to bring everybody back in Endgame. Of course, I don't have to go and rehash all of that. Y'all pretty much should know about that if you've already seen the movie. I would say that the production design in this movie was actually very, very good. I really like how they did everything. The quantum realm looked phenomenal. It's a beautiful looking place. It's very beautiful, but it's very mysterious at the same time, because, while it looks nice and it looks pretty and it looks mystical and all these good things, you never know what you're going to run into when it comes to how that place is ran, especially if you've never actually been there, especially for a long period of time. That's why Janet's character was like, it all looks nice and whatnot, but there is some stuff down here that can be a threat. And of course, the biggest threat to it is the new main villain, most likely that's going to be throughout the MCU in these next couple of phases, and that will be Kang the Conqueror, portrayed by Jonathan Majors. We have been waiting to see this character for since Loki, or since we found out he was casted as this character. When he came in Loki, he was He Who Remains. That was one of his variants. Those who watch Loki knows that his character in that one was more lighthearted. He was more goofy. you know, he's comic relief, and he was only in one episode, and that was the season finale of season 1, as many people may or may not know. Loki got renewed for a season 2, and when you see how everything plays out and connects to this one, you can see why that's one of the few Marvel shows that has a season 2, because a lot of the MCU shows are just a one-off type of series. Loki so far, as well as What If and maybe another show, I'm not sure, are the only ones that got renewed for another season. So that lets me know that they're helping to guide the story along. But in that iteration of him with He Who Remains, he was one way, and he told Sylvie after she killed him that, you know, you don't know what's coming. You have no idea what's coming. And that's when we got introduced to sacred timelines and the TVA and all of that stuff. But in this movie, this is not He Who Remains. This is Kang the Conqueror. He's a very menacing type of character that's able to travel through time. And his mission is to basically conquer different worlds and shatter timelines. That's what his whole mission and goal is. And he feels that he has to get back and get revenge on those who have banished him, because he got banished to the quantum realm, which is a place where he cannot defeat it. That's one of the places that he could not really defeat. He was able to conquer it in a sense, but he wasn't able to defeat it like he did other places. And they knew that he was such a threat that he literally got banished there, and they found a way to lock him in there. But he has to find a way to get out of there. And then that's when Ant-Man's character comes into play. I'm not going to spoil it for you in case you want to watch it, to find out what he needs from him in order to get out of there. But just know he needs him in order to fulfill his mission. And let me just tell you something right now. Jonathan Majors is just such a phenomenal actor. He is definitely going to be a legend. He's a legend in the making. This man's already having a phenomenal first quarter as far as I'm concerned, because he's in this movie. Then he's going to be popping up in Creed 3. That's 2 big franchises right there that he already has under his belt within a month. And then he has more stuff that he's working on. I am so looking forward to seeing what more is going to come from his character down the line, because as you know, for those who may or may not know, there's a whole movie coming out in phase 5, I think, called Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. That should tell you all you need to know right there, that he's definitely going to be around for a while. He's definitely going to be like the main big bad villain, sort of like how Thanos was in the first 3 phases, which was called the Infinity Saga. We are in now what is called the Multiverse Saga, where she's going to play an intricate part in this going forward. As long as they can find a way to connect everything the way that it should be, then it should be really no issue. But really, I'm excited to see what this character is doing going forward. And let me just tell you right now, even when Jonathan Majors wasn't delivering lines, his facial expressions and the way that sometimes he could look calm and sometimes he could look menacing, he was able to convey that and to deliver that to the audience, to let you know he is not one to be messed with. Like, he is definitely a man of his word when he says that he will destroy you, and by any means, and he's going to go after what he wants and what he needs. And if you don't abide by that, then I'm just going to get you out of existence, because that's his power. He can literally wipe you out of existence and probably bring you back and wipe you out again as much as he wants. That is a very phenomenal power to really have when you think about a villain. Anyone who can tamper with time and destroy planets and destroy worlds and conquer them and call themselves a conqueror, that is some serious business right there. But yeah, he's definitely going to be around for a little bit. Now, while I said all of that, there was one issue I had with the movie, and that was the character design of Modoc. Modoc he's this floating head, and he is a character from the first Ant-Man movie. If you remember, he was Yellow Jacket, whose real name is Darren, who got banished and sent to the quantum realm, and that's where he's been pretty much stuck at the whole time. And they were only able to really save his head, and they turned him into this kind of entity, and he called himself Modoc. And it's actually an acronym for something. I can't remember exactly what they said the acronym was for, but it's an acronym for something. Now, with the helmet on, Modoc looked fire. But with it off, it was like, ugh. And the thing is, every time he was on screen, people started to laugh because of the design. It's like the CGI. It was almost like it was too CGI. It didn't look real. Understandably, there's no such thing as a big floating head just going around, but it almost looked like CGI that was probably done in like the mid 2000s. Like if you see the movie, you'll understand what I mean. But you know what? With that, it's been this issue with the MCU visual effects teams and them having to spread themselves thin, and you know they can only work with so much, and then it's a floating head. So it's like, what can you really do? But at the same time, it was like, please put your helmet back on and keep the helmet on. At least with the helmet, you look fire. I would have been fine with them not even having him to remove the helmet. Let's just hear his voice. We know who it is, and let's leave it, you know, right there. But all in all, I actually kind of really enjoyed this movie. This was one of the few, this was an Ant-Man movie that did not feel like an Ant-Man movie. The reason I say that is because if you look at the first two Ant-Man movies, they were very light. They had some action there, but they were very lighthearted, real kid friendly. But this one right here, while it did have some lighthearted moments, there was some serious stakes at hand, like, you know, possibilities of people dying and people dying. So it was very dark in tone. And they had to do that because Kang the Conqueror is there. He's not a lighthearted, kid-friendly character by any measure. He is a serious threat. And I think that's what the MCU has been needing for quite some time now, is a serious threat, since, you know, Thanos, you know, he's pretty much done with. So his threat, his issues or his storyline is pretty much done. So they need a new threat. And I think they definitely got it with Kang. And I think it's very interesting too, because a lot of people are saying you're going to bring Kang the Conqueror and you're going to introduce him in the Phase 5 in an Ant-Man movie. But when you look at it, it actually works and it actually makes sense to me. Like, again, this is all just my, you know, opinion. You can take it or leave it. It is what it is. But all in all, if I had to rate this movie, I would give this movie excuse me. I would give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. It wasn't the greatest movie. It wasn't, you know, the best movie, but out of all the Ant-Man movies, this one for me was the best one, in my honest opinion. Now, I don't know if there's going to be another Ant-Man film down the line, or if this is the end of Ant-Man's story and he might pop up in another movie somewhere down the line that's not his own. Who knows? Before I actually end the review, there are two post-credit scenes. Well, one of them is a mid-credit scene and one is a post-credit. To not give too much away, the mid-credit scene literally sets the tone for what is to come in these next two phases. I'm gonna just leave it right there. The post-credit scene sets the tone for a particular show. I'm gonna just leave that right there. So keep that in mind. The post-credit scene sets the tone for what's to come throughout these next two phases, Phase 5 and Phase 6. The post-credit scene sets the tone for what's to come in a particular Marvel MCU Disney Plus show. And I'll give you another hint. That Disney Plus show actually starts this summer. I'm gonna leave it right there. Y'all probably already figured it out because it's pretty obvious. But with that being said, that has been my review for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll talk to you in the next one.